I'm working on three of you.
We'll call to order the City of Douglasville City Council regular meeting for tonight, which is Monday, May the 16th, 2022. We'll have our invocation done by the Reverend Brian Berryhill of Heritage Baptist Church, and after that, the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem Councilmember Terry Miller. Please stand for the invocation.
Let us pray. Dear Lord and Heavenly Father, we come to you again today, thankful, Lord, for another opportunity to call on your name. Thankful, Lord, for all the liberty, the freedom, and your mercy. Thank you, Lord, for the mayor and the members of the city council. I pray that you would give them wisdom and confidence and the ability to come together to make right decisions for our community. Let us know peace and joy, Lord, that only you can give. And we ask all this in Jesus' name we humbly pray. Amen and amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome to the City of Douglasville City Council meeting. My name is Rochelle Robinson. I'm Mayor of the City of Douglasville. Tonight is a regular meeting where agenda items will be voted on that we dealt with last Thursday at the work session. If you have any additional information that you did not mention last Thursday, it's just new information during the time for public hearing, we'll ask that you come forward. The agenda, we do have each person has 5 minutes to speak. The items will be handled on the agenda as following. The committee chairperson will present the information. You have 20 minutes for those in favor, 20 minutes for those in opposition. Each person has 5 minutes to speak. When you come forward, please give your name and address for the record. And if you have printed material, we ask that you would hand that to the city clerk, Ms. Vicki Acker, to my right, and she'll distribute to the council members. We ask that you will not have a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. If you deviate from that request, a second deviation will result in us turning your microphone off for the evening. But we ask that you please keep your comments on a respectful level. If you have any electronic devices or cell phone and all of that, please put those in silent mode or turn those off so they will not be disruptive during the meeting. This is not a question and answer format or debate. We're just here to hear the information, deliberate, and make our decisions. It'll go a little bit differently than it did last Thursday, as this is a voting meeting, and it'll go a little bit quicker unless you have new information to present. I believe that's all of our protocol that will go forward, and each person does have one opportunity to speak. And if you have printed material, we ask that you would please give that to our city clerk, and she will distribute it to us at a later time. All right, so now we'll move on with the business at hand. We'll go to we don't have any other announcements or presentations. We do have presentations. We have a presentation by myself for proclaiming or declaring May 15th through the 21st, 2022 as National Public Works Week with the theme of Ready and Resilient in the City of Douglasville. We have been ready and resilient during this time of COVID, and we have such an excellent department for public works that is led by Mr. Greg Roberts. So I will read the National Public Works Week proclamation and ask Mr. Roberts to come forward, or whom else, or someone who's going to represent that department to receive the proclamation. Office of the Mayor Rochelle Robinson proclamation in recognition of May 15th through the 21st, 2022 as National Public Works Week. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are vital importance to sustainability and resilience in communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Douglasville. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public work professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is the public's interest for the citizens' civic leaders, and children in Douglasville to gain knowledge and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works departments in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2022 marked the 62nd Annual National Public Works Week, supported and sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now, therefore, I, Rochelle Robinson, Mayor of the City of Douglasville, and on behalf of the members of the Douglasville City Council and the citizens of the city, do hereby designate the week of May 15th through the 21st, 2022, as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join me with respect to honoring the American Public Works Association and government agencies and activities, events, and ceremonies designated to pay tribute to our public works professionals, our engineers, our managers, and employees, and to recognize the sustainable contributions they make to providing our national health, safety, and quality of life. So proclaimed this 16th day of May, 2022. Let's give them a hand, please. Mr. Roberts, you coming forward? Who's that man in that suit? I don't know who that is.
I know 2 years of cargo pants and T-shirts, but it's nice to see things getting back together. But thank you, Mayor and Council, and to the citizens of Douglasville. And the proclamation does say it all, but the one thing the proclamation does not mention by name or agencies and organizations like the Douglas County Water Sewer Authority. They're a great asset to our citizens in our local area. Also Georgia Power, the Atlanta Gas Light, and a number of other telecommunications companies. But those are public works operations that probably do not get much attention, but it keeps things rolling, literally. And whether that's roadways or traffic signals or your garbage picked up or your water flowing. And as everybody at this table knows, when the garbage is not getting picked up, they don't care about the roads that day. They care about the garbage. And so I believe our folks do a great job. I do have 3 or 4 people here tonight. I would have loved to have brought the entire department. But thank you for taking this week to recognize it. We have some awesome employees.
Yes, sir.
And not only to the mayor and council, but even to our citizens. You're welcome to come to our place, Cedar Mountain Road. You might want to get there early, though, because those guys are not going to hang around to see you. You need to be there about 7 o'clock. We'll give you coffee and a donut if we know you're coming. But we have some awesome folks that really get out there, rain or shine, hot or cold, and get it done. And that really is repeated all over this state and all over this nation. Public Works really is the unseen hand of local government that really makes a lot of things happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. I'm going to make a comment, and then I'll open the floor for council members to possibly make some remarks as well, the chair of Public Works, of course. But I wanted to personally thank you for everything that you do. You're the type of leader that will not just tell someone what to do. You'll join, or you'll be in the front of the line doing it yourself. It's not above you to go and pick up a trash can, go and see about an issue, to pick up a lawnmower or ride a lawnmower to cut grass. So we really, really appreciate you, Mr. Roberts. We appreciate your leadership with Keep Douglasville Beautiful. That has been an initiative of myself and council to adopt streets. You've been very flexible and very understanding. On Saturdays, you give up your Saturdays to come and help local agencies or local groups to adopt a highway. You don't have to do that, and you're always very pleasant. So we really I appreciate you and all that you do for the city of Douglasville. And how long, would you please tell the public how long you have been, do you want to say how long you've been an employee? I want you to, just to say.
Well, I've been here 30 years this year.
What?
And I've been the director of the department since 2004. Former Mayor Mickey Thompson was the mayor when I became the director. So it's just been a great time, and I love working for the city, and love all whether it's the politics aspect, that may not be my favorite part, but I've always been blessed to be around good people, to work through, even through some of the worst sometimes, but when you're serving people, it's always good.
when we had the blue bags, Mayor Thompson remembers
That
that.
was awesome.
People would wear blue bags. And
Those do predate me, though. I was
Oh.
working, well, I worked here when it was going on, but I didn't go to the public works section until the year 2000. So I don't deserve credit for getting rid of the blue bags, but but I got rid of the blue bags. So that made me a hero for 15 minutes.
Yes, sir. And even during the pandemic, you all only missed maybe a week. I know, and it was because we had people that had gotten sick with COVID in the department, but you jumped right back in, and we appreciate that. So I'll open the floor for any other members council members to make any comments, and I'll ask that the chair start.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Mr. Roberts. I don't think I could even put into words all the wonderful work that your department does for our entire community. And I see Melissa and Corey back there, and I hope they know how appreciated they are as well, and that includes your entire department. I have got to go out and see the facility, which is wonderful, and talk to several of the guys who work on your teams, and it's always a pleasure just to get to talk to those folks. And just as Madam Mayor said, all through the pandemic, you kept going, and anytime there's a storm coming, you're posting it on social media to let people know to stay out of the storm's eye, and when things do get nasty, you're out there in your truck with your big spotlights on it, just trying to clean things up, and it does not go unnoticed. We definitely appreciate you guys very much, so this is much deserved. Thank you for all y'all do.
Oh, thank you, Councilman Miller. Vice Chair? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I can't
Councilman
remember.
Adams.
I'm sorry.
I know, it's too many committees.
All those fine things that they've said about you, Greg, I agree with all of them. There's just one thing I want to add. Don't think of going anywhere.
Not
We
today.
appreciate you, sir. We love you. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Councilman, I know he was trying to jump in. Councilman Watts, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I did say bad things about the blue bags and whoever was responsible, so I do appreciate you taking care of that. But anyway, Greg, you're the best, and leadership starts at the top. Appreciate everything you do. Your department is first class. It's been under siege here this past 2 years because of COVID, and a lot of folks have, we don't have as many folks working there, and so I know you've been out there doing a lot of things that you shouldn't have to do as a director, but you do it anyway. Thank you for
That's what we do.
everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Watts. Mayor Pro Tem?
Well, not really much more I can add to what's been already said. Yeah, Greg, you've done an amazing job, and I'm sure you feel kind of like the old proverbial captain of the ship, where suddenly one leak opens up here, another leak opens up there, and you're busy trying to stop each of them, and you've done an admirable job. You've kept the ship going and on course, so thank you for all you've done.
Thank you. Any other council members on this end? I want to put you on the spot. Councilman Estes?
I will echo, without repeating everything everybody else has already said, and I will do my best to stop interrupting you at your lunch.
I'm good.
You're very, very responsive, and it's very much appreciated.
Thank you, Councilman Estes. Any other comments from council members? And we appreciate the farmers market is tomorrow. Great food. Peaches are supposed to be there tomorrow, too. I'm excited about that. That's what it says on
Apparently
it.
so. Yep, they are
Okay.
here. They're here
Okay,
tomorrow.
good. Ooh, good. I'm excited about that. And new flowers. Okay, we'll come around and ask you to come and take a picture with us, Mr. Roberts.
Y'all could fill in back on the second row. All right. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll continue with proclamations. We do have another one. So you have to share, in your week, you have to share a day with the National Kids to Parks Day. Kids to Park Day. In recognition of May 21st as National Kids to Park Day, whereas May 21st, 2022 is the 12th Kids to Park Day organized and launched by the National Park Trust, held annually on the third Saturday of May, and whereas Kids to Parks Day empowers kids to and encourages families to get outdoors and visit local parks, public lands, and water. And whereas we should encourage children to lead a more active lifestyle to combat issues of childhood obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and hypercholesterol. And whereas Kids to Parks Day will broaden children's appreciation for nature and outdoors, and whereas Kids to Parks Day will recognize the importance of playing responsibly while enjoying the benefits of the outdoors. Whereas the City of Douglasville's Parks and Recreations Department will be participating in Kids to Park Day through games, crafts, treats, and activities at Willing Workers Park from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, therefore, I, Rochelle Robinson, Mayor of the City of Douglasville, and on behalf of the citizens and the Douglasville City Council of the City of Douglasville, do hereby recognize May 21st, 2022 as Kids to Parks Day in the City of Douglasville and encourage all elected officials, staff, and citizens to get outdoors, be active, and participate in the Kids to Parks Play Day activity. So proclaimed the 16th day of May 2022. Ooh, that's a lot.
Well,
we have our Parks and Recreations Director, Mr. Chris Bass. You'd like to have any comments, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be able to accept this proclamation on behalf of the Parks and Recreation Department. Like you mentioned in the proclamation, it's the opportunity for us to promote our parks, specifically with youth. We know that technology is here, but we want to continue to encourage our youth to get out in our parks and take advantage of our opportunities. So again, the date is this Saturday, May 21st, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., held at the newly renovated Willing Workers Park.
Yes,
so this
sir.
is our first event at this park, and we're looking forward to having the community come on out.
Very good. Mr. Bass, could you tell us some of the activities that's going to take place?
Yes, ma'am. So we'll have our large yard games, Connect Four, Jenga, some of those large games. In addition to our program vendors will be out having booths set up to participate with some of our program vendors, and hopes to bring more visibility to what we do offer and kind of take advantage of some of the activities there in the park. We'll have face painting, we'll have inflatables, and just a fun-filled day of activities. So, yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Bass. Before I open up the comments for the City Council, we're excited to have everyone come and see the newly renovated Willing Workers Park. It's actually just absolutely beautiful. And this is funny to me that you have to tell someone to go outdoors. My mother, it was always go outside and play.
Yeah.
We didn't have to have a day. It was every day before the street lights came on after school, you go outside and play. And so, but this is exciting that we know that we have to, our lifestyles have changed because, you know, a lot of kids are playing on technology, as you've said. So this is encouraging us to get out and have some fun and go outside. The Parks and Recreation Community Chairperson, Mr. Councilman Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So parents and grandparents, grab those devices, hide them in a drawer, and send those kids to the park. Thank you, Chris Bass, for everything you do. You got a great staff under you, and appreciate all of y'all's efforts. Thank you.
Yes, and the chairman is a proponent of activity, riding bikes and hiking and everything. So he is, he's the leader as well. The vice chair, I think, is Councilman Nicole Miller. Are you the vice chair?
No.
Oh, it's you. I apologize, Councilman Davis. How could I forget? You were being quiet.
I'm just listening, taking it all in.
You're listening, you're taking it in. You have any?
Chris does such a wonderful job, and I just don't want to. I just want to blow his whistle. Chris is the man. I call him about twice, 3-4 times a week?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah, we eat lunch at Old Charlie's. We get it in.
Well, good.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I apologize. Any other comments from council members? Okay, Councilman Estes is laughing. Okay, we'll come around, Director Bass, and take a picture with you, and congratulations again. Let's give him a hand, please.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you.
And the parks never shut down during the COVID-19 either. In fact, we ramped up everything. Families wanted to go outside, and West Pines is doing an excellent job now. So we have one more proclamation. It's the introduction to the mayor and council of the selected 2022 summer interns, and that's going to be Dr. Bryan Westfield in the HR department. So we're excited to see the interns.
Dr. Bryan Westfield, 6695 Church Street. Madam Mayor, council members, good evening. It's my privilege and honor to introduce the 2022 summer interns for this summer. This is the fourth round of interns with the City of Douglasville since its implementation in 2017, based on guidance and recommendations from Mayor Robinson. So thank you, Mayor. As a reminder, there was no internship in 2020 due to COVID-19. This program was expanded from 7 last year to 10 this year, but unfortunately we had one intern from the engineering department that would not be able to complete that internship, so she bowed out, but we do plan on filling that position before the start date of this internship. This 11-week internship program begins May 23rd and runs to 5 August 2022. If there are no questions or pending any questions, I will let the interns come up and introduce themselves briefly.
Council? One thing I would say is I want to thank you. Oh, does someone have something? Oh, okay. Thank you, Dr. Westfield. We really appreciate you all taking the ball. We can have ideas, or I can have an idea, but really staff, you're the ones who work all the details out. And so we're casting the vision, but you do the hard work and the heavy lifting. So thank you so much for accepting the challenge in the HR department, you and the city manager, of course, and our director of HR, Ms. Tia Austin Bean. So I'm excited now to meet the interns.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Without further ado.
Hello, my name is Alexandra Restrepo, and I am a recent graduate, May 2022, of Georgia State University. I graduated with my bachelor's in business administration. I concentrated in marketing, and I will be working in the legal department. A fun fact about me is I like to weightlift in my free time.
What? Weightlifting?
Mayor, she didn't say the most important part about her
What
coming
is
up in August.
And this fall, I will be attending FAMU Law School.
Oh,
Just
that
that
rattler over there is talking about it.
Thank you.
Well, we're so excited to have you. You have to stay at the microphone. We may have some questions
Sorry.
for you. We're excited to welcome you in the HR department. Congratulations. You're a Panther, and now you're going to be a Rattler, so I don't know how that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yes. Any questions from members of the council? Yes. Oh,
Madam Mayor,
Georgia State.
did you say, ma'am, that you would be attending law school where?
At FAMU Law School.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Good job.
Georgia State?
Georgia State.
Okay.
December of a long time ago.
Long time ago. That's okay. Still works. Any other comments
you.
from council members? Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Alyssa Wright, and I am currently attending the University of Georgia. I am pursuing a bachelor's in psychology and hopefully a master's in human development and family science. My anticipated graduation dates are spring 2023, and then if I get into my master's program, spring of 2024. And I am assigned to the Parks and Rec department. And a fun fact about me is that I was a ballroom dancer for 7 years.
You were a ballroom dancer.
Yes.
Wow, that's exciting. UGA, I don't know if there are national championships and there's a bulldog or anything, but someone says go dogs, I'll let them.
There you go,
Okay,
go Dogs.
okay,
Go Dogs.
okay. Well, welcome to Parks and Recreation. Any other? Brady Grady, do you know Brady?
Brady Gray?
Yes.
I do.
You do?
Yes, Madam
Did you
Mayor.
go to Douglas County?
Yes, ma'am. I went to Alexander High School.
Oh, okay. Well, you're in the class with my son, Joel Robinson. He was on the swim team and all that. But tell Brady I said hello and be good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank
Nice
you.
to meet you. Welcome. Out of all the students, you would know Brady. He's Mr. Popular. Hello.
Hi. My name is Brooke Yerda. I am currently attending UWG. I am majoring in public relations. I'm expected to graduate spring of 23. I will be working for the public services department here. One interesting fact about me is that I've played tennis for 7 years.
You did what for 7 years?
Tennis, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Wait a minute, one more time. I need to hear you.
Tennis.
Tennis?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, so you know how to play tennis like Serena and Venus
Not
Williams,
as good
no.
as them.
University of West Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me think. A Wolf, right? Okay, I'm trying to get all the schools. Anyone have any comments? Well, welcome. We're excited. Let me see who's at University of West Georgia. Kayla. It's a whole lot of students there. We just had a sorority, just had a crossing in that University of West Georgia, Alpha Kappa Alpha. So lots of young ladies there.
Oh, wow.
So welcome. We're excited to have you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Enjoy. Try to remember all the mascots. My old cheerleading days in college. Hello.
Hi. Good evening. My name is Dejanay Halton. I also attend University of West Georgia.
Okay.
My major is pre-med biology, and my anticipated graduation date is spring of 25. I'll be working in the planning and zoning area. And an interesting fact about me, I participate in hardcore sports like water rafting, skydiving, zip lining.
Skydiving.
Yeah.
You want to go to the Army and do paratrooping for like the Med or something?
Oh, no.
No, you want to do that? So you can take your time as a pre-med major. It's all good. Congratulations. Welcome. You're going to be in zoning?
Planning and zoning, yes.
Planning and zoning. That's meticulous work. So we're excited to have you there. Any comments? Someone's wife, don't want to say, but teaches at University of West Georgia.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Dr. Overfield. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know if you ever had Dr. Overfield or not, but
No.
if you took Spanish, you might have. But
I take Spanish next semester, so
okay,
maybe.
you might cross paths with my wife.
Any comments from council members? Any other? Oh, yes, sir.
Madam Mayor, I would wear a parachute on a plane, but I ain't jumping out of one. So I commend you on that bravery.
Skydiving, that sounds fun. Where did you skydive?
I did it was like a course of things in North Carolina, basically.
Oh.
Like, it's a big area where they do zip lining, water rafting, kayaking.
Wow.
All that. It's like 100 feet jump, stuff like that.
Are you going to get in the competition?
Oh.
Dr.
I
Westfield
just do it for
runs, you
fun.
know. Dr. Westfield runs behind you. He has, if you ever see his office, it's full, just plethora of all kinds of medals for running races. So
I used to run track, but I don't anymore.
Well, welcome. We're excited to have you.
Thank
You're have
you.
a lot interesting in P&Z.
Thank
Yes,
you.
you're welcome. This looks like girl power. What's going on? I see there's a thorn amongst all the flowers. I see one.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello, my name is Fatima Edmondson. I'm a senior at Columbus State University. I'm currently majoring in information technology, and I plan to graduate in December of 2022. And I'll be working in the IT department. And a fun fact about me is that in high school, well, I'm on my high school's Hall of Fame for track and field.
Oh, say it again. I couldn't understand. That was too fast. You have to slow it down.
I'm on my high school's Hall of Fame for track and field.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank
Which
you.
event?
4x1.
All right, let's give her a hand for that one. That's good. Hall of Fame. Very good. Okay, Columbus State, I don't even know. It's Aflac is there, but I don't think that's the school mascot.
The mascot is the Cougars.
Oh, Cougars, like Alexander Cougars here in Douglas County. All right. Kayaking. Did you go on the water?
Yes, I've been.
You've been. Isn't it nice right
Yes,
downtown?
it's really fun. It's really fun.
It's really fun. And the director is from Columbus, Georgia, Mr. Bass. All right, so you can talk about Columbus. Columbus State has really grown. It has a whole downtown area in that area. Any comments from council members? Now I remember the Cougars. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you. You're welcome. You're going to have fun with Mr. Jenkins in IT. Oh, gosh. Okay. Probably going around the other way is quicker.
Hello, how are y'all today?
Fine, thank you.
Okay. So my name is Jamia Altador, and I'm currently going to Columbus State University as well.
Okay.
I'm an accounting and finance major, and my anticipated graduation date is May 2024. I'm going to be working in the finance department. And one interesting fact about me is that I plan on taking gymnastics next semester.
Oh, very good. Well, welcome. You have a bubbly personality like Miss Callan in finance, so I think you guys will just blend together. So welcome. You are a Cougar, and I was a gymnast in high school and college. I was a college cheerleader, so I can still do like an aerial, but not back handsprings and all that kind of stuff. So,
do you have any tips for me?
Keep your eyes open and breathe. So exciting. Any other comments from council members? Thank you. Welcome. Enjoy, Ms. Callan. You have to be a strong guy with all these women interns around you.
Hello, Madam Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
My name is Long Lu. I just recently graduated from Georgia State University with a bachelor's degree. My major was public policy with a concentration in local governance and management. My assigned department is community development. And one fun fact about myself is that my birthday actually falls on April Fool's Day.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's not a joke. It's for real, April Fool's Day.
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
It's actually my mom's birthday as well.
Oh, goodness. Well, welcome. Congratulations on graduating. That's exciting. And, of course, Georgia State, our council member Adams graduated from that university. You're a Panther. Any comments from council members? Oh, his wife teaches at a university, and his son is at Georgia State in the film department. Yep. So, Isaac.
Graduating this December. So,
oh, he's on track. He's early.
Yeah. So we seem to be overrepresented by Georgia State here tonight.
I see. Any other comments? Well, enjoy. You're going to have a good time over in.
Thank you so much, Madam
Yes,
Mayor
sir.
and Council.
You're welcome. Nice to meet you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Manaya Stallworth. I am attending Georgia State University. I am a double major in finance and business management with a focus in HR. My anticipated graduation date is December 2022. I'm assigned to the HR department. And one interesting fact about me, I love to swim. I've been a lifeguard all throughout high school and at the beginning of my college career.
Oh, so you were swimming in high school and in college. What did you say about your college career in swimming?
I was just a lifeguard. I lifeguard all throughout high school and also lifeguarded at Georgia State.
Very good. Valdosta? No, you said Georgia State.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Whoa, girl, you talking fast. I had to try
Sorry.
to remember everything you said. That's exciting. And, you know, we have an aquatic center. Have you been to the aquatic center
No,
in
ma'am.
Douglas County? It's off of 166. It's very nice. My son was on the swim team. The aquatic center is great. So
I'll
you'll
definitely have to check it out then.
If you want to just go over there and for exercise or make a little extra cash on the side. Does a lifeguard. Any comments? Well, welcome and
Thank
have
you
a
so
good
much.
time. Yes, sir. Communications is going to be fun too with Mr. Post. You'll enjoy that. The last person, you're the exclamation point in the group.
Hello, my
Good
name
evening.
is Camille McKinney. I go to school at Reinhardt University, which is a very tiny school compared to everyone else. Let's see, and I'm planning to graduate spring 2023. And the department I'm part of is tourism and the convention center, so that should be fun.
It should be.
Fun fact about me, I love studying culture, whether that's through food or through art. So if I stay in the academic world, I would want to study food history and Southern food culture. And within the art world of studying culture, I like folk art.
Very good. Reinhardt, what's your mascot?
It's an eagle.
It's an eagle?
Yeah, it was a phoenix, but then they changed it to, yeah.
Well, I guess the bird still. Yeah, my son was at Georgia Southern. They were eagles too. And so food, you're a foodie?
Yes, very
You're a
much so.
foodie? Okay, so it'll be fun with Samantha over there in tourism. It's a lot of fun. And we do great things. The Cultural Arts Council is right down the street on Campbellton Street. So if you want to look at free art shows, really nice.
Thank you.
Yes. Any comments for the Eagle Reinhardt? Welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. 11 weeks, you are going to have lots of fun.
So, Madam Mayor, Council, subject to questions, that concludes our introductions. Any additional questions?
I don't
Councilmember
have a
Estes.
question, but just a comment. I am very impressed with this entire group that we have this year. This is amazing. Welcome to all of you, and have fun.
Yes, sir. Any other comments? Thank you so much, Dr. Westfield. We appreciate you. And welcome again to our young people. Let's give them a hand for being encouraged. Our internship has become very competitive, so these are the cream of the crop. We're excited to have you. So we'll move on with the agenda. We are now on item number 5, and it's the minutes. I will open the floor for a motion to approve the minutes of the April 28th, 2022 committee meeting, executive session, and legislative work session, and the minutes of May 2nd, 2022, regular meeting and executive session. I'll open the floor for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Estes. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. It's been properly moved and second to approve the minutes. Do we have any additional comments, questions, or concerns from council members? Any corrections to the minutes? I don't see any. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Item 22-170, the minutes have been approved unanimously. I'll move on then to item number 6, which is the consent agenda. I open the floor for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Thank you, Councilman Adams. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Councilman Davis. It's been properly moved and second, moved by Councilman Adams and second by Councilmember Davis to approve the consent agenda as presented. Do we see any corrections or comments from the elected body as relates to the consent agenda? Thank you. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The consent agenda is approved as presented. We'll move on then to the next committee, which is item number 7, which is Economic Development Committee, and that is chaired by Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business at this time under the Economic Development Committee.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll move on then to Finance Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No business tonight under Finance.
Thank you, sir. Housing and Community Affairs Committee, chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Verdamley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee, chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Madam Mayor, no business tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Davis. Personnel and Organization Committee, which is item number 11. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight in personnel and organization.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll move on to item number 12. There is business under this committee. It's Planning and Development Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We do have several items tonight under Planning and Development.
Yes, sir.
The first is to hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from GC General Commercial and R2 Single Family Residential Development to PRD Planned Residential Development for 16.5 acres located at 12711, 12701, and 12691 Veterans Memorial Highway, land lot 192, District 2, Section 5, parcels 64, 63, 62, 61, 60, and 59. Parcel ID numbers 019202, 50064, 6362, 6160, and 59. Application by Kenneth Woods, Planners and Engineers Collaborative. Ms. Shayla Reed will help us with that item. Ms. Reed?
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Shayla Reed, Community Development Director, located at 6701 Church Street. There's nothing different from the last time we spoke on this. I did provide a memo to you all last Friday. There were some pending questions. I'm not certain if you would like for me to put that on the record and speak on those 4 items. Awesome.
Please do, Ms. Reed.
Thank you, sir. The speed limit at Woodley Drive is 30 miles per hour. There is a fire access, as mentioned, that will be a 20-foot fire access that will allow for there to be an SOS sensor. Just to kind of go in detail with that, it does not allow for there to be a key. It operates on sound. So when the sirens are heard from the machine, it unlocks the gate. And then from there, there will be sidewalks added on the property. And as I mentioned in the memo, it'd be along Veterans Memorial and somewhat on Pinecrest Drive. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Reed.
Thank you, sir.
Are there questions that Council or Madam Mayor would have of Ms. Reed as our city representative initially? Okay, thank you, Ms. Reed.
Thank you, sir.
Then we'll move forward with the public hearing. Is there any new information that the applicant would like to provide to us at this time? Please come forward.
Kenneth Wood, 350 Research Court, Peachtree Corners, Georgia. The only thing that I forgot to mention last time, and I forgot to follow up with Shayla about it, is as part of the design, you know, with the very urban design that we have, there's one condition that talks about a turnaround on the dead ends. And so I just would love to have on that one condition for it to say, or as approved fire apparatus turnaround. So that, because those are, it's a T-turn for the fire trucks, and if we had to put cul-de-sacs, you know, from an urbanism style planning, it would kind of throw off the layout of it. So I'd love to make sure that it's something to where if the fire department's okay, you know, okay with the T-turn, then we can have it like that without having, you know, large cul-de-sacs or something.
Mr. Wood, if I'm not mistaken, I think I questioned that on Thursday night about the fact that there were no cul-de-sacs there, and I believe the explanation given was the short distance of the street would not require it because a fire truck or ambulance would pull in, back up to one of those locations.
Right, it's less than the 150.
Yes,
the
sir.
way it's written, when we got into the LDP, I wasn't sure if we would be able to then do that though.
Okay.
So it's
Ms.
just
Reed, do you see
something
any
that's
issue with that? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll give opportunity now for those that may be here that would like to speak either for or against this application, this being the public hearing part of our meeting. Please come forward if you have any new information. We would ask that you give us your name and address for the record and move forward. No takers. Okay, so we have no new information. All right. Are there questions that council may have or discussion that we need to have between us prior to any motion? I will ask Ms. Reed, I believe there was some discussion, and I want to make sure the applicant did agree to this. We did have some questions about homeowners associations.
Yes, sir. I apologize. That was actually in the memo as well. There is a homeowners association that will be established at this location. They will have a 10% cap at rental as well.
Okay. So there is a homeowners association that will be in place. It will be mandatory, I would assume?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, Madam Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'm not certain if this is the item or not, but I do recall us talking about the HOA did spur another question about rental caps. for the union.
She just stated
So-
that.
Did you say that?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
ma'am, and that is a cap that they're placing on, within their own covenant. But the city is allowing for that to be a part of their condition that's placed inside of this adoption or approval if you approve it.
And that reminded me of the question about if that was legal or not, or if it would uphold, or it would be a requirement, and then,
So just as any covenant, it's a private covenant. So
Okay.
that is something that will be something between the homeowners and homeowner association. That is not something the city's requiring on them. It's just something we've accepted as a list of conditions that they've placed on their own development.
and they would keep a record of how, we don't have to worry about any of those logistics?
Yes,
or
ma'am,
any
we
of
don't
those
manage
details?
that. That's 100% them.
Okay, all right, thank you. I apologize. I heard you,
it's
but I
okay.
didn't. I want to
Okay.
make certain I brought that out.
Any other question or comment?
I've got one.
Yes, go ahead, Councilwoman Miller.
I believe somewhere in the proposed conditions, there was mention of a possible speed hump. I just didn't know if we needed to clarify that before we move on and vote on this. And I did see an email earlier about the traffic study. I'm not going to lie, like I did not have a chance because it just came out this afternoon, or I just saw it this afternoon. I haven't had a chance to read all the way through it.
So.
Ms. Reed, would you like to
Yes,
respond to that?
there was in fact a traffic study. There was no, I guess, issues found within the traffic study warranted. So there were no concerns in regards to traffic based on the traffic study provided. In regards to the speed hump, that is something that if in fact the development decides they would like to do, it's not something that the city financially does. That would be something they can do on their own, should there be in fact a traffic study that deems that to be necessary.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify it because I think it was a little open-ended in the proposed conditions.
Well, let's clarify also the location of those speed humps. Are you speaking of within this development or somewhere outside?
It would be within, but I'll let him speak.
And then I understood that it was
On
Whitley.
Pinecrest or Whitley, yeah.
So the way there's two conditions. So the one we put forth with the neighborhood about Georgia DOT, that was so that whatever GDOT comes up with at the entrance, we'll comply with. For the speed humps, what happened was in conversations, literally walking Whitley and Pinecrest with the neighbors, what I committed to was that if we are approved, I would work during the LDP process talking with your public works to see if there is a solution, because they had mentioned they tried to get some done and they weren't really sure about the process, and there was a lot of conversations related to that. So I said that I would, basically that was a commitment for us to try to see how to help them get them installed, or some type of a solution. You know, we'll help them come up with whether it's a speed hump or whether it's, you know, more signage or something, that we're going to help find that solution. Not that we'll completely install them, but we're going to find what that solution is, because I think the way the code's written is the neighborhood has to have agreement that they want them.
Yes, sir, definitely. And in order for us to be completely transparent, let's make sure that it's stated that the city is also required to have a traffic study done for the neighborhood, and then the cost of those speed breakers, if the traffic study warrants them, then would be at the expense of the community, not at the expense of the city.
Right, and you have to prove what it is, what
That's
that
correct.
solution is.
That's correct. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, Madam Mayor.
And/or if not the speed humps, I think Mr. Woods was saying something that could slow down the traffic if it were those vibrator, I don't know the proper name.
Rumble strips.
There you go.
There's a lot of different approved items, but then there's some that are not favored based on the speeds and how small the roads are. But we want to help them try to find a solution.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Others? Does that satisfy you, Councilman?
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. No questions or comments? Everyone finished? Okay. Then we'll move forward. At this time, I'll make a motion that we approve this item. That's item 22-107 with the conditions stated.
Thank you so much. Do we have the public hearing for the citizens? We did?
I did
No
give
takers.
opportunity for
No
those to
takers.
speak either for or against.
Okay.
Had no takers.
Yes, sir. So we do have a motion to approve item 22-107 with the stipulations that were read by our Community Development Director. Do we have any other, open the floor, is a motion to approve. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Miller. Do we have any additional comments or questions as it relates to this item from council members?
Madam Mayor, I would like to say again that I appreciate both the owner and the developer and all of the neighbors in the neighborhood coming together with, and with the input that you've had. I know we've had some other potential situations there that had been applied for at one time, and I think this is a good fit for the neighborhood to preserve both the historical appreciation of those residents that have been there for over 50 years,
Yes,
and at the same time using the property for something I think that will be beneficial for our city.
Yes, sir. Great collaborative spirit and effort. So it's been properly moved and second to approve item 22-107 with the stipulations that were read by the Community Development Director. And we don't have any other comments outside of what the chairman has said of this committee. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 22-107 is unanimously approved.
We'll move on to item B.
Thank you.
Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from RLD Residential Low Density County to PUD Planned Unit Development City for 3.14 acres, and to consider a request for a change in zoning from PUD Planned Unit Development District Zone property to amend the special stipulations of a zoning for 24.29 acres on Slater Mill Road in Land Lot 80, District 1, Section 5, parcels 47 and 48. Parcel ID number 00800150047 and 48. Application by Century Communities of Georgia LLC, care of Dakota Carruthers. Ms. Shayla Reed.
Yes, sir. If we would, I would like to speak on both items at the same time, as we did on Thursday, if possible.
Yes, ma'am, and I will read that. I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. I'd forgotten that, Ms. Reed.
Thank you.
Item C is consider a petition to annex 3.14 acres on Slater Mill Road, Land Lot 80, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 48. Application by Century Communities of Georgia, LLC, care of Dakota Carruthers. Ms. Reed.
Thank you. When presented to you on Thursday, the applicant has asked to withdraw both items. Staff does recommend approval of that withdrawal.
Okay, that's both items C and D. Are there any questions or comments or any other information that council or Madam Mayor may deem necessary in order to take action? Okay, thank you, Ms. Reed. Seeing that, then I would make a motion that we approve items C and D as to, I'm sorry, B and C. Approve items B and C. Make a motion that we approve those in that they be withdrawn without prejudice.
So the approval is to withdraw?
To withdraw.
Yes, sir. So we do have a motion to the approval to withdraw items B and C from Chair, Councilmember Mark Adams. Is there a second, please? Thank you so much. It's been properly moved in second to approve items B and C to withdraw those items from the council. Approval to withdraw, okay. So any other comments or questions? This is just, we're doing it a little differently than we normally would. Not seeing any. All those in favor of approving items B and C for withdrawal, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Mayor, one last item then, item D. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from PUD, Planned Unit Development, to PRD, Planned Residential Development, on 9 acres at Vanzant Mill Road in land lots 193 and 224, District 2, Section 5, parcels 13, 28, and 34. Parcel IDs 0224. I'm having trouble with my computer screen here. It wants to have me vote again. 0224, 025, 0013, 0028, and 0034. Application by the Benoit Group LLC, care of Raven Thompson. Ms. Reed?
Thank you. The only things that have changed since Thursday, in addition to the pieces or the items that we spoke on previously, in that memo, we did clear up a few questions that were had. That it was stated that there was a trail that connected the development to the church. We, in fact, did not see or hear of any mentionings inside of the previous staff report of 2019 of a connection between those two developments. In addition to that, the 2019 case identified there to be 7.7 acres. I know that was a large portion of the concern or questions, was what the previous acreage was. And then, of course, from the 2019 case, it identified there to be 165 units, just as it was in the case that you're hearing now, the same number and same count. The acreage, as I mentioned, was 7.7, averaging it up to about 8. So with that said, the current case that you're hearing now has just maybe 8 acres more, but with the same exact number of units. So I don't know if that clears up, gives you any comfort there, but.
Did we find, Ms. Reed, that the proposed development plan showed access off of Chicago Avenue in both plans, old and new?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I just did not recall that. I don't know why I thought it was coming in off of James D. Simpson and would be accessed through another part of the property. So the connectivity is not the same.
So the connectivity, and that's a great question. So we had a question about Vanzant Mill Road. A little further research from today, we found it to be where that was in fact a road that is not finished. It's an unfinished road. We cannot abandon that road as we probably thought it had happened. Those are flag lots that are more to the north of this site, and we must gain access to that location. So we cannot in fact abandon that road. It is an unfinished, kind of unpaved road that we do have, and we found within a lot book that we have for land lots. We did find that within our book today.
Okay. I'll ask our counselor, City Attorney, Mr. Joel Dodson. Mr. Dodson, what is your take on that situation as to responsibility the city would have in the rezoning?
Well, you can rezone the property, but if it's an existing street, whether it's paved or not, that would not entitle them to use that property as part of their development. You see what I mean? We rezone stuff all the time with a road through it. As I understand it, that road connects the property, I guess, to the northeast.
Correct. Correct.
That already have platted. This is a development we approved and never got built out.
That is correct.
So that's Vanzant's the only access those lots have.
That is correct.
Under those circumstances, you couldn't allow them to simply close that road. It'll be, they'll take it with a road on it.
If I may add something?
Do you know when we approved that? Is this one of those deals where the contractor went belly up and didn't pay?
So the land lot dates back to 1966.
Okay.
The only way that we could recommend or see where it would make sense to have it abandoned would be if all lots were merged or combined to allow for an immediate access to all sites directly from Chicago. But they're not taking all of those pieces. The development that we're talking about tonight are not taking all of those individual flag lots. They're only taking the piece that's immediately adjacent to Chicago and the most northern piece to that piece of land.
So then their development would have to take into consideration that street that is open, even though it's not being used, because they're not buying the parcels that would encompass that street.
Yes, I'm assuming those flag lots you're referring to are owned by other individuals.
Correct. That's in fact where the previous development was. So if they are looking to combine them all together, I don't know if they're looking to sell. I don't know the details of the previous development lots. But if they're looking to have that development be separate or have a different owner, they would need to have that road continue, because we cannot abandon and not allow access to those sites.
Sure. Okay, questions? Who'd like to start? Madam Mayor?
I'm looking at some expressions. Okay. We have been in a situation before that we had to then take on the responsibility of resurfacing, improving all those improvements and providing services. So.
Yes, I have not looked at any of the legal background on this. You say that subdivision was approved in 1966.
So that particular land lot for the road Vanzant Mill was. The particular development that we recently rezoned was in 2019.
Oh, 2019 we rezoned a development back there?
I'm sorry, say it again for me, Joel.
Are you saying those lots, those flag lots, were rezoned in 2019?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I'll be happy to take a look at that rezoning, but I'm assuming, well, I shouldn't assume. I'll take a look at it. In any event, I agree that we cannot simply
Abandon it.
well, we can't abandon it, and if a development plan is presented, it will not be able to encompass that property if they want to build something on it. So I don't know what that'll do to their development plan,
Well,
if anything.
Well, before this issue with the water, and we approved in 2019, I believe you said, Ms. Reed, that part of the development plan was to take on those lots.
Well, previously, yes. So it's only one for the current one you're dealing with now. There's only one small lot that's immediately adjacent to the larger piece that they'll have. There's about 6 or 7 flag lots above a large piece. They're only taking one of those pieces. The other ones are the previous rezoning from 2019. So I'm not certain if they're looking to move the project over to the larger piece that we're speaking of tonight, and then selling or doing something else with that site, with, no longer being a part of that particular development to the north. I'm not certain. We'll have to ask them that. But I do know that we cannot necessarily abandon the road, not unless they're going to merge all of those lots together.
But they don't own all of those lots at this time, do they?
They're trying to purchase, if I'm not mistaken, the ones we're talking about tonight.
If they were to acquire all of those lots and the road does not extend beyond those lots, then they could petition for an abandonment.
They could, but we would still want to have it a little cleaner to make sure we're merging them all together, if that makes sense.
Okay, so if we go forward with the rezoning approval, and if they then come to us at a later time, having not purchased all the lots, then how do we, then their development plan could be negatively affected as to what they can do even on the new piece of property until that condition is satisfied. Because we haven't seen a development plan while we're up.
Say, depending on what the development plan is, if the plan was to use that part of the road for something to build on, so yes, it could, but without having seen a development plan, you really can't tell.
Okay. Gee. Ms. Reed, anything else?
No, sir.
All right. No other questions or comments of Ms. Reed? Then we'll move on to the public hearing portion and ask anyone that would like to come forward with new information, either for or against the application, please come forward. Give us your name and address for the record with any new information. We would love to hear from
you. Good evening. My name is Raven Thompson, the Benoit Group, address 6780 Roswell Road, Atlanta, Georgia. So I think in the beginning, Ms. Reed did kind of clear up most of the clarifications as it related to the initial ordinance that was approved back in 2020, the 7 plus or minus acres. I did provide her with some clarifications from our last meeting to clear up, just to show that the density on the approved ordinance was 20 plus or minus acres per acre, units per acre. And we still same number of units, 165, and the density has gone down again to 18 plus or minus units per acre. Again, this is a 4% tax exempt bonds. It will be 62 plus for seniors. Tax credits for the tax credits, I'm sorry, let me go back. A 4% tax exempt bond. We already have the financing lined up for the property. We already have the bond inducement draft that's ready to go. The application will be submitted May 31st of 2021, which is at the end of this month here, May. And again, to address the parcels that she's requesting, and once I'm finished speaking, I will let Mrs. Armstrong come up and discuss the merger of the lots, because that church does own that land. And we are already in joint venture with the church as it relates to this particular project. They are part of the GP, as well as they will receive developer fees from the project. And I believe I also provided some documentation as it related to the traffic study, which did talk about that it was not recommended that Chicago Avenue have a decel lane, but we do have that decel lane included in our site plan. And we have complied with all of the requirements as set forth by the zoning ordinance as it relates to height, as well as what we've received for the requirements from the fire marshal. And so that concludes.
Okay, so there's no other new information, Ms. Thompson?
No.
Okay, thank you. Someone else, please come forward. How are you, Ms. Armstrong? Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Mary Riley Armstrong, 955 Laurel Springs Lane, Southwest Marietta, Georgia. Good evening, Mayor and Council. If I'm understanding right, there was a question about the previous 7 acres that Benoit was going to use, if those acres were going to be merged. What I need to clarify is that those 7 acres that they were going to use will not be merged because those belong to Golden Memorial United Methodist Church, and we don't have concrete plans at this time for the usage of that acreage. However, we do have we've been brainstorming and thinking we're going to build soccer fields and that sort of thing, but what I wanted to clarify is that those 7 acres that you guys approved for the development in 2019 will not be, as far as I understand it, merged. The new acreage is completely separate.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other information? Anyone that would come with new information, either for or against this application, please come forward. Okay, we'll close that portion of the public hearing. Our city attorney, Mr. Joel Dodson, is suggesting that since we do not have clarification on how a development plan would be affected potentially by not including that street wholly, completely in a part of the development, that we need more information on that. It could create a situation once again to where if we do go forward with the zoning and then you have other problems, then we're right back again as we have come from 2019. We would like to get that clarified if possible. So my motion will be that we table this item. This is item 22-153. I will make a motion that we table it until the second set of meetings in June of this year, which someone could give me the dates of that, I would appreciate it.
City Manager.
June 16th and 20th. That is June 16th and 20th.
Okay, I would make a motion that we table this item until the dates of June 16th and June 20th of 2022 in order to get clarification on how this parcel or this road affects this zoning. That's my motion.
Can I ask a question, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Question first. My question is the timeline for the tax credits. If we table it to June, how is that going to affect your application?
If we table it to June, DCA has already made it clear that we will have to withdraw.
Okay. Well, I have a motion to table. Thank you so much for the information. We have a motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second to table item 22-153 to the meetings of June 16th and 20th, 2022. All those in favor of tabling this motion, please say aye. Oh, I apologize. Open the floor for any questions or comments from council members.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, did you have a? Oh, okay. Well, I definitely do not want to do anything to cause problem or delay or trouble for the group. That is for certain. We saw in 2019 that there was support by the community, first of all, to have this type of density. And I don't want to go against that in the situation that we have had come up now, but my city manager is wanting to make a statement, so I want to honor that. Please go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I didn't see you, City Manager. I
If
apologize.
clarity is what you need to make a decision, you don't have another meeting prior to their deadline. Your deadline is May 31st, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you are not comfortable
making an affirmative yay or nay, you don't have enough, you don't have another meeting to make that decision outside of tonight.
And the concern is about the road, because we've done this before, whereby,
Excuse me.
you know, it will become an issue later on down the road.
Also, if I may add, I did receive an email from Tom Dresto, of the Chief of Public Service, which he did say that that particular road was already abandoned. And I have the email here, which I did provide to Mrs. Reed.
But the City of Douglasville was a city road. We have not abandoned the road.
Okay.
I'm not. Okay, Mr. Dawson, you have anything to say?
Madam Mayor, I mean, one point I thought was clear, it may not be. If you rezone it tonight, you're simply rezoning it with the road on it. In other words, what I'm saying is that you don't have any authority to close that road. Now, it may be, if you rezone it, that they can't make a development plan work with that road in place, but that would be their problem. They would either have to redesign it or acquire some more land, but you can certainly do it tonight. I just want to make it clear that the road will not be part of a development plan unless they're going to use it for ingress and egress. They won't have the authority to close it or build over it.
Right, because it's not, so you understand that.
Which from our perspective, if acquiring more land is needed, we have a history of making that adjustment.
You're prepared, I'm sorry.
We would be prepared, yes.
Okay, so Councilmember Burdanley,
Yes,
it's your
ma'am.
ward.
Right, thank you, Attorney Dotson, for clarifying that, also Ms. Hampton, as far as the dates. Because this project was interrupted due to COVID, I don't want to see this tabled if we don't have to. If they're prepared to move forward, I'd like to see it move forward.
Thank you.
Councilman Davis.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to, for us not to table it, and they in the process can purchase more property to make it work. I'm willing to go with it.
Okay, so we do have a motion to table and a second, and we have had discussion. Oh, I apologize, Councilmember Watts.
Well, I agree with council members that it would, I don't think that we necessarily want to table it. It sounds like Attorney Dotson has kind of explained it, where if we were to approve this rezoning tonight, I'm clarifying this by saying it out loud, if we rezoned it tonight, that the development plan would then fall to them to deal with the road. It would not be on us to work that out. That would it be
on the developer.
Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
Yes, sir, based on Mr. Dotson. You want to withdraw your second?
I'd like to make a motion to withdraw my motion to table.
Second.
Thank you. So all those in favor, oh, we don't have to vote on the withdrawal. So now we'll open the floor again for Mr. Chairman to make a motion.
I make a motion that we approve this item, of course, subject to an understanding that the developer will have to handle the situation with the road, and that'll be my motion.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, because from our understanding, the road is not abandoned. The letter that you have, the City of Douglasville supersedes that because it's the city's property. Okay, the city's road. All right, so, Mr. Chairman.
Before we go forward, is that something that needs to be
With conditions.
added to, we've
The
got,
motion.
I'm just wondering if that has to be added to what we're approving here tonight.
Okay, we have our legal to speak to before Ms. Reed speaks, Mr.
If you
Dawson.
want to add a condition that it's approved subject to the rights of the public for ingress and egress over, I think it's Vanzant Mill Road, you can do that.
I'd like that included in the motion.
Okay, so we.
Ms. Reed, I think it's something.
Right.
Thank you. I just wanted to remind that the Planning Commission recommended approval with conditions. So I want to make sure that I note that there were conditions with this rezoning. When the motion was made, we didn't mention conditions. So I want to make sure if you're considering those conditions.
Would you please then recite those conditions?
Sure, of course.
Thank you.
Ms. Shayla, you're just awesome. Thank
Oh,
you.
Thank you so much. I did not know about those conditions.
And
Let's
we're
hear them.
trying to make it work for everyone.
Yes.
Yes, that's the only reason why it seems clumsy, but we're just trying to make things.
That's right.
We're trying to make it work because we want to be, we want to make this successful.
Say something about that.
Give me a second.
and we didn't have enough time if we were tabling. The only reason why we were considering tabling is to have clarity about these issues. And since DCA has a deadline of the 31st of May 2022, we're trying to get some, just trying to iron out some issues. Thank you, Ms. Reed.
Thank you. There were 3 recommended conditions. One was for the installation of cameras, as we're now starting to do with multifamily. And then next, of course, the question or the comment was made to allow for it to remain as a senior housing development for senior living only. And then, of course, the density was a huge question. They were requesting to have 18, and staff and the Planning Commission is asking to reduce it to 10. The actual future land use only allows for 4, and they're asking for 18. So as a happy medium, we was asking for it to be 10.
Point of order, do I have a second?
We did not have a second.
No.
And I'm going to ask a question before Mr. Chairman has to do a subsequent motion. I understood, Ms. Thompson, when you were here at the work session, that 18 was what you needed to make the project viable for you, and we weren't given that information at the time. I'm sure it was in our literature that it was 4, and this is a rezoning, so it's going beyond what is typically in our comprehensive plan for the land use. So we're going from 4 to 10 is what the Planning Commission recommended, and you're asking for 18.
18 units per acre, due to the fact that the tax exempt bond deal is only financed at roughly 40%. So we need more units to make the deal work, to carry the debt that's on the property, with the margins already being highly constrained, which is a highly ongoing fact for tax credits.
Would you consider 10, or is that viable at all?
It wouldn't be viable.
It would not?
No, ma'am. And
did you, from the Planning Commission, did you understand that the recommendation for these 3 conditions were about the age restriction cameras?
Yes, ma'am.
And
Absolutely.
the recommendation of 10 versus 18?
I heard her on the recommendation for 10. I do know that we will meet the security and camera requirements, as well as the it being a senior living housing, but with it being a tax exempt bond project, it's just, I'm not going to say impossible, but being that it's been underwritten the way that it has, that financing, the way the structure, capital stack is on the project so far as the financing, it won't work any other way. With tax exempt bonds, you have to be really, really creative in how you finance the deals, and being that we already do not have PBRA to kind of help with the rents, we have to have it at the 18 units per acre.
Nothing less. There's no compromise. You know how you play spades and you have 2 in the possible. It's nothing in between from 10 and 18.
With construction, I mean, we have to take in all of the factors, because construction costs is through the roof. That in and of itself can kill a deal. And every week, construction cost is fluctuating from 195 per square feet to almost 200 per square feet. So we're really just kind of having to keep it where it is just to make the deal work. And working with our GCs to kind of try to lock in the pricing so that we don't blow the cap.
Yes, ma'am. We've been through tax credit housing before, so we understand. Thank you, Ms. Thompson. I want to ask Ms. Reed another question before I opened it up for questions from, or turn it back over to the chairman of this committee to make his motion. Ms. Reed,
Yes, ma'am.
did, well, you did make a motion to approve with the conditions. Ms. Reed, did, in the Planning Commission, did the community hear the conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
And they agreed with the conditions? Did you hear any feedback as far as that was concerned, and specifically about the density?
So the Planning Commission made motion made a statement that the density request was pretty high. And they agreed that the staff recommendation for it to be 10 was, because it was clearly stated by a planning commissioner that they want that condition of that density. So just to kind of clarify that they were really concerned about the density portion of the development.
And the feedback from, during that hearing, did the community come forward and have any opposition to the cap of 10?
So the community did not speak for or against. It was more so the planning commissioners and staff having a conversation.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So the chairman has made his recommendation for a motion to approve this item with the conditions as stated by our community. Yes.
Point of order, Madam Mayor, I did not include those conditions.
Oh, I apologize.
In the motion. I'm confused why we're having this discussion without a second, first of all.
Oh, I apologize, because we were,
We've
I'm
got-
out of
I've
order.
made a motion, which I'm assuming I'll need to alter here in a moment, but, or would you like me to go ahead and do that? We're
Yes,
having
sir.
discussion.
So your motion is without those conditions?
I'll need to change my motion, but I believe since we're having discussion, Coach Watts had something to say.
Well, I've got two questions. And first question is, if the land situation, those lots that may have to be purchased to make their future plan work with that road, does that change the density potentially, which would bring it down? No. Is it?
Well, it would help the density, it would lower the density, but I would not want to give opportunity for the density to be raised.
Well,
Because there's more
that,
land.
what I'm talking, yes, and the future land use does not call for 18.
That's correct.
And so, one thing I'll remind the council that we will set a precedent for future projects as far as density. So I'm throwing that out there. Just for everybody to consider that that is much more than what was recommended, although, we all like the sound of this project. I just wanted to bring that up, that we're setting future precedent as far as future land use.
Thank you so much, Mr. Councilman Watts, and we got off a little bit, I think, while I was asking Councilmember Berdanley interjected, and it spurred conversation, so I apologize to parliamentarian who pulled my coattail to get me in line. So I'll go back to the chair. You have made a motion. Is there a second on the motion that the chair made? And this is without the conditions. Oh, yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
So we're now going to have discussion, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me ask Councilman Eustace what he has, ask us what he has to say.
This original plan for this on the other acreage was for a higher density than what they are
That is correct.
proposing now. So I'm a little confused over why this is an issue now when it wasn't on the previous parcel.
We had different people on the planning commission.
Councilman Estes, I would agree. I would not think it fair to the community, in my opinion, that we would now go back and lower the density on a project that's already been approved, that had a higher density than what we have now that's presented to us because of problems with the piece of property they wanted to use. Now, there may have been some reasons that there could have been more due diligence done prior. That wasn't done, and that's neither here nor there. So having stated that with all respect to this situation, I would think that we need to move forward, if at all possible, and give an approval in some way with some conditions. So I will change my motion, but with all due respect, I think that we should go forward with the project, even though the density is higher than what the Planning Commission suggested. That particular Planning Commission, I don't think, was seated at the time that this was done. And the community has come out very much in favor of it, and so we did approve it in 2019. Would you like me to change my motion again, Madam Mayor?
Do we have any other comments based where we are with all these concerns before we move back to Mr. Chairman to rescind and make
With new condition, with
an
the
alternate
conditions.
motion? Okay.
Okay.
Mr.
Yes,
Chairman.
ma'am.
Oh, I apologize, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, I guess what this ultimately does come down to a question, if we're talking about density, and I don't know how far along the design of the development is, where we've been given a footprint, and the question of the density really becomes down to, if you're building within this footprint, is how many stories the building's going to be. if I'm not mistaken. So it's I'm sorry, 4 stories.
Three
Three stories. So if you were required to lower the density, it would basically be going down to probably 2 stories, but you still be at the same footprint, but it'd be a 2-story building versus a 3-story building, is my understanding, based on what the information we've been given. So it's not like we're taking and spreading this development out over a larger piece of the property, or we're encroaching upon any of the neighbors or anything like that. We're just simply building up the building. That's where the real calculation is coming from. So just wanted to make that observation.
Thank you. And we're going to try to stick it with the rezoning too, because I know we're getting all off into the weeds, but we're just trying to make the project the best that it can be.
I would like to change my motion to approve the development, taking into consideration items 1 and 2 as far as zoning conditions that Ms. Reed has mentioned. And if we need to have her repeat those, that's fine. But allowing for the density that was advertised and requested, because we've already approved that at a prior time. Ms. Reed, would you mind reading those 2 conditions, please, one more time?
Yes, sir. To allow for there to be a camera installation at the entrance of the development, as well for there to be a required senior living apartment of 62 and above.
Thank you, Ms. Reed.
Thank you, sir.
That is my motion.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We have a motion to approve item 22-153 as read by Ms. Reed, with the motion by the chairman, and approved, or a motion to approve by the chair with the conditions of the cameras and the senior housing constraints. So I have a motion. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Thank you so much, Councilman Davis. We have any other comments from council members?
Do we also add in the conditions in regards to the road?
We're not addressing the road.
Okay, all right. Councilman Davis, second before I could. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
So the road and their ability to come back to us with a plan, a development plan, will be contingent on that getting worked out, correct?
Well, it's their responsibility to make the development plan work. If they cannot make the development plan work, then or it's something that we can't approve, then we just don't approve it. Correct?
That's
correct.
That's how I see it.
Legal has said to us, yes. Any other comments? So it's been, it's been properly moved in second, moved by the chair with the conditions, the first 2 conditions, second by Councilmember Davis to approve this item. Do we have any additional comments or questions as relates to this item?
Madam Mayor, I'd just like to reiterate, I just want to make sure that everyone understands, our viewing audience, those that are with us tonight, the reason that this density was given in 2019 was because of the work and the hope for the community that this would be a great development for the area. The church was working in conjunction, as we've already seen, with Benoit, and we wanted to, the community was just so in favor of it. It's not something that we want to see as a precedent in the area.
Right.
But that's how we voted in 2019, and I'm hopeful that we can do that again.
Yes, sir. And that's why we're here, not to rubber stamp,
That's
but
correct.
to really make considerations and to bend and be flexible when it's a project that's good for the community. So, yes, ma'am. Any other comments?
I just
Dr.
wanted to just recognize the community that's here, specifically Pastor King, just through the challenges with his family he's gone through. I just want to say thank you for being here through all of that. Thank you. It shows real commitment.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bardelli. And Pastor, I didn't recognize you with your beard. You look different. I know you look 12 and now you're like 13. So but we extend our condolences on the loss of your mother. We've been praying for you, and I have something for you. I just haven't gotten it to the church yet. I didn't know you're going to be back. Any other comments? Thank you. It's been properly moved in second to approve this item with the conditions that were stated by our community development director and reiterated by the chair. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Item 22-153 is unanimously approved with the conditions.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We do have one other item.
Yes, sir.
Consider a request for revised plat approval for Northern Tool and Equipment Store for the purpose of combining Tract 8 with the right-of-way of Dogwood Hills Drive for a total of 2.8 acres at 7150 Concourse Parkway. Land Lot 160, District 2, Section 5, Parcel 26. Parcel ID number 016002504 126, application by SD Douglasville LLC, care of Jeff Wakeman. Ms. Shayla Reed.
Yes, sir. There are no additional information added to this item.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
This is a housekeeping item in that the city actually sold this parcel as a part of an old right-of-way to Northern Tool, and so it's really just really a housekeeping issue that we need to take care of. Is that correct, Ms. Reed? Thank you. Make a motion then that we approve item 22-171.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Councilman Davis. It's been properly moved and second to approve item 22-171. Do we have any additional comments or questions from council members? I don't see any. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 22-171 is approved unanimously.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all that we have tonight.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We appreciate being pliable to get those issues taken care of in your committee. We'll move on to item number 13. Agenda item is Public Improvement and Beautification Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Nicole Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business this evening for public improvement and beautification.
Thank you, ma'am. Public Relations Committee, chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. PR Committee has no business this evening.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll move on then to Public Safety Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have one item. Item A, consider a request from Nicholas Center INC for the city letter in support of their application for the Target Violence and Terrorism Prevention Grant Program. Ms. Nichols.
Good evening, Madam Mayor,
Good
City
evening.
Council. Hi, my name is Tara Nichols, and I'm the CEO of the Nichols Center at 6534 Spring Street, downtown Douglasville. I've never done this before, so I'm excited to be here. We are applying for a grant with Homeland Security in an effort to build a local framework for mental health in our community based on research that's done for counterterrorism and domestic violence that leads to homegrown radicalization, mental health and law enforcement work in communities where mental health and law enforcement work together to create a multidisciplinary team. They have greater success in identifying individuals that are at risk for violence and radicalization. And when you can provide early identification, awareness and education, and preventative steps, you can reduce, statistically over time, you can reduce acts of violence within the community. Over the last few years, the Nichols Center has worked to build different pieces of this mental health puzzle. We have a wellness resource center. We work specifically with families that have been impacted by mental health and substance use addiction. We recently launched last month a CIT program, and that is a crisis intervention team. It's a collaborative working with different key stakeholders in the community to address the crisis of mental health. This CIT meeting, our goal is to grow this throughout our community, partnering with churches, partnering with law enforcement, the fire department, providing education awareness. We're working with other organizations to build a NAMI affiliate for Douglas County that would, again, bring mental health resources into the community and allow us a greater access, not only on a local level, a state level, but even on a national platform for lobbying, for different resources that we could use in Douglas County. With the rate that our population has grown, with the way that our demographics has changed over the last few years, with COVID, I can't express how important it is that we take a proactive response to mental health in our community. And so we've never applied for a grant of this size before. I am not, we're leaving it up to God if we even can get this, but we're asking for the city to step in favor and support what we're doing by providing a letter of just support that we could possibly pull this off.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Nichols.
Thank you, ma'am.
Recognize your passion, and before I open up for the City Council, I wanted to ask, so for the grant, is it a requirement for the City of Douglasville, the governmental agencies? I know Community Services Board, and you mentioned NOMNI. I know that we do have a organization here in the community as well? Or do you just want the city for encouragement to strengthen your support? Or I'm not to say strings are attached, but is there any financial?
There is no requirement for cost share or cost match. There is no requirement that we even have your support. I just know it'd look awesome. And so because our goal is to reach the local collaboratives, the core group and the faith-based community and, Wellstar, law enforcement, fire department, because our goal is to bring a multidisciplinary team in order to respond to mental health. Having the city front-running that support, I think, would strengthen not only the program that we're building locally, but it would strengthen our ability to access the financial means that through the federal grants that would allow us to make this possible, to bring further resources.
Okay, I know Councilman Davis seemed eager, so he was the first person I saw that, and I'll recognize him.
I want to hear from the city manager. Have you reached out? And,
city manager.
This is very similar to other not-for-profit agencies that apply to state agencies for grants that request support letters. You all just acknowledged the Nichols Center several days ago, so staff's recommendation is that a letter of support would be definitely reasonable to support their application.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for clarity.
Thank you.
Any other council members?
Just a comment. I'd just like to say, Ms. Nichols, you're doing an awesome job. I've actually called, made several referrals to you, and just, you have a whole faucet of different activities for all ages, families, and this is just amazing. So I wish you could have been in our ward, but it's okay. You still can service individuals, but just to hear the collaboration, churches, which embodies homelessness and just a lot of things, and this is really great. This is a big one, but I hope that you get it. Fingers crossed.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Councilmember Burdanley, we've heard from the chair and Councilmember Burdanley. Councilmember Estes, it looks like you.
I would just back up what Councilwoman Burdanley just said. The work you do is amazing. It is a gift to this entire community, and I wholeheartedly support this idea and wish you the best of luck in getting this and many, many more grants in the future.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Councilman Estes. Any other comments? Yes, ma'am. We attended together. Councilmember Miller.
We most certainly did. I am thankful that Councilman Adams and I get to have you in our ward. I've seen some of the great work that you've been doing in the community, and we are very thankful to have you here and just cannot wait to watch what all you do in the community. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Miller. Any other comments from council members? Okay, not seeing any, then I'll turn it back over to you, Councilman Davis.
Yes, ma'am. If not, I make a motion we approve 22-177.
Second.
Oh, okay. It's been properly moved and second, moved by the chair of this committee, Councilmember Davis, and second by Councilmember Dr. Burdanley, to approve item 22-177, and it's not even in their ward, and they're excited about it. So any other questions or comments as relates to this item? Not seeing any. All those in favor of approving item 22-177, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And we have one recusal from Mayor Pro Tem. So the majority rules, and you're approved.
That's all I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Nichols.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Nichols and Councilmember Davis. So now we'll move on to the next committee, which is Recreation, Culture, and Tourism Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight. Recreation, Culture, and Tourism.
Thank you. We'll come back to item 17, and we'll go to Transportation Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Burdanley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item tonight, and it reads as follows. Adopt a resolution to apply for the U.S. Department of Transportation Multi-Model Project Discretionary Grant Opportunity, same as MPDG, for the purposes of reconstruction of Fairburn Road and the Billard Road Bridge at I-20, and to commit a 20% local matching fund requirement. Mr. Thompson has some information to give us.
Marcus Thompson, City Engineer, 6701 Church Street. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I have no additional information at this time. Are there any further questions?
There was a question that was asked on Thursday that we need an update on something, is that not? Or there was an error that's corrected?
The error.
Okay. All right, are there any comments or questions? Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Dr. Burdanley, Mr. Thompson, what are the things that make the softball know the next time? When you slow down, it kind of like makes your tires boom, 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 like that.
Rumble strips.
What are they called?
Rumble strips.
Rumble strips.
Rumble
I said rumble, so I was almost right.
You're close.
Okay, so next time I'll sound like I know what I'm talking about. Rumble strips. Okay, are they expensive?
I don't think so.
Are they in this? So this grant is for, okay, but it's for fair burning. We can't use it anywhere else. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I make a motion that we approve item 22-151.
Thank you so much. Madam Chair, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem. It's been properly moved and second to approve item 22-151. Do we have any additional comments or questions from council members? I don't see any. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 22-151 is approved. Now we'll go back to item 17, which is Technology Committee, and that's chaired by Mayor Pro Tem Councilmember Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business at this time under the Technology Committee.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll move on then to other business. Is there any other business that council members want to bring up now at our meeting? Any business from the elected body? Yes, sir.
Yes,
Mayor Pro
ma'am. I
Tem.
have a question. I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
I was just going to announce that this weekend is the Taste of Douglasville.
Douglasville, that's
May-
right.
Saturday, starting at 11 o'clock. We'll be
Busy.
kicking off in O'Neill Plaza.
Mm-hmm.
Come one, come all.
Everybody's
That
excited.
should be fun.
Weather's going to be beautiful.
Yes, sir. The taste is always great. It's great to have it back in the community. So that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Dr. Burdanley.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I spoke briefly with our city manager and Coach Watts, who's our chair of Parks and Recs. I'd just like to get an update. I continue to get information concerning security at Jesse Davis Park, typically during the week. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So,
Thank
as
you.
you know, security has
Mr.
been...
Bass, please give us your name.
I'm sorry.
So-
Chris
That's okay.
Bass, Parks and Recreation Director, 8830 Gurley Road. Park security has been a major issue throughout our park system, just throughout the city as a whole. We're trying to make it a safer community, and with our parks, we've added some additional measures to address park security. That's utilizing our police department for off-duty officers over at Jesse Davis Park until we close. So eventually, once the contract for the renovations are solidified, we'll close off a majority of that park. We'll only have access to the Hawthorne Center. So we've been leaning on our off-duty officers just to kind of clean up the area and just make sure they're safe. And with the additional, with the change of the park hours, help enforce that as well.
So are you stating that we do have off-duty police officers there during the week? That's not what I'm seeing, nor am I getting that information from the community that's there. Okay.
Yeah, so we have 7 days a week, we're trying to put an off-duty officer there from 6 to 10 p.m. Unfortunately, it's hard to fill every single day. I was just
Yeah.
looking at it this morning. There are several dates filled, but I do still see some openings. So when there's still openings, we are having our regular officers who are assigned to that district, that zone, are making extra efforts to go in that area for those days we can't get covered.
Major Davison, we're down by how many officers? I apologize, I put you on the spot. If you don't know that, we can get that information back, what, 10 or 13 or so?
It's 13 right now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so is there
Thank
any,
you.
so if we are trying, that means that we have days that are open. So I've driven and I've seen an officer there sometimes, and I don't understand what you're saying, and I know that we're down. Is there any way that we could utilize our park security that we used on the weekends? I'm just asking.
I believe we're augmenting that with park security as well. The reason we have off-duty officers is because we were having some activity that park security could not
do.
handle. So it would made more sense between myself, Chris, and the police chief to have an officer there. So if an arrest needs to be made, we can make an arrest. But we have not removed Pearson security.
So I guess my question is, if we are down police officers and there are times that we do not have those slots filled, I think just the presence of security is a plus. If we don't have a police officer there that's certified in the presence of security, because having no security is not
Mr.
good.
They are there,
Pearson
correct.
Security is still there, aren't
On
they?
Friday, Saturdays, and
Only on the
Sundays.
weekends.
Yes, ma'am.
Only
We're
Friday,
asking during-
Saturday, and Sunday.
Right, and so currently we have some students that are already out of school, seniors that are already out, so we have one more week.
Yes, ma'am.
But during the week, I mean Monday through Friday, not the weekends, Monday through Friday is pretty heavy in the evening.
We were talking about this in our pre-budget meetings about staff, so, and we're contracting in some of the services that we have gaps in, and I'm not certain if we are able to, and we can throw money at it, but if we don't, the people, I don't know, City Manager, if you want to address it.
We can add park security during the week, but the reason that Mr. Bass and I were suggesting not to, because we're getting ready to shut the park down, but until the park is shut down, we have no problem. If you all want to increase the hours, you all will be seeing the contract. But the park is getting ready to get shut down.
But do you have we don't have a date yet for shutting down
Mr.
yet?
Thompson, do you have an estimated date?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, we won't make it that long.
Yeah, bring the park security.
We will make it from May to July.
Oh, no. I mean, even if it's just 2 days, just the presence of some security during the week, it's a hot spot between 6 and 10.
We can go ahead, we can go ahead and add that. We have enough money in the budget to do that.
Thank you, Ms. Hampton.
Yes, please.
And that's at all the parks,
I'm gonna
or
send-
just JD?
They do all of
So all of the citizens that are texting and listening, our great city manager, you can thank her and everybody else. Thank you.
So City Manager, is it at all the parks or just the park that we see a need for? Or are we going to do added security at all the parks?
Based on, I can make a recommendation to the city manager, but right now I believe our hotspots are J.C. Davis Park and
Willing Workers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we can. And I'll actually be bringing that contract on the June 2nd and June 6th round, so I can have more information then.
So they'll be circling all the parks that night.
I'm sorry?
The security we got will be circling all the parks.
They currently, right now, they do patrol all of our parks.
Okay, so we
on
bring
Friday,
it
Saturday,
back
and
Monday
Sunday.
through Sunday.
Okay.
Monday through Sunday, circling all the parks.
And then, okay. We'll get all the details. City Manager will give us,
Good.
as she
Thank
does,
you.
a report, I'm
Thank you,
sure.
Ms.
She'll email
Yes,
us a
sir.
report. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Yes,
Councilmember
ma'am.
Bordanley, any other business to come before council tonight from the elected body? I know we have I haven't told the Mayor Pro Tem this yet, but we have budget workshops Thursday and Friday, and we did have a pre-meeting today, so I know the issues. I will not be able, for the citizens, I will not be able to be at the meeting on Friday. My son is graduating from the state's firefighter academy in Forsyth County, but I will have technology to have my phone on, so I'll be listening, and I'll watch when I'm not cheering for him walking across the stage. But, so Mayor Pro Tem, if you don't mind taking the meeting on Friday, but I do know all the issues, all the concerns, I have all the details. We'll get a letter beforehand, and I will be on my electronic device on Friday. I'll be there all day Thursday, but my one and only son, I can't miss his graduation.
That's right, you can't. Congrats.
Thank you. So then we'll move on, if you don't have any other business, for updates from city staff. The City Attorney, Mr. Joel Dotson. Thank you, sir. Our Police Department, Major Davison. You do a great job for us, Major Davison. We appreciate you.
No business, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. Our City Manager, Ms. Marcia Hampton. It's good
yes,
to have
ma'am.
you back.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. I was in the Mayor Pro Tem city with GMAB, so it's
great.
interesting. We have posted the agenda for the Thursday workshop for the budget hearing, as the mayor mentioned, as well as for Friday. The clerks will do some adjustment on the timing. We caught a couple errors, but we are starting at 9 on both days and adjourning approximately at 4 on Thursday and midday on Friday. So robust information. So we will see you here in this building on Thursday after tonight's meeting. And then the other thing, just to remind you of, we do have one staff department presentation, and I'm going to challenge HR to be very thorough and swift. So 8:05, because I know y'all had a long night on Thursday, and it's been a long night tonight, so that's all I
we
have.
weren't expecting it to be like this with all this consent agenda. So it is, thank you so much. That staff report is under Councilmember Chris Watts' committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
We have one item, and it is a presentation of Human Resources Department quarterly report by Ms. Tia Austin Bing.
Thank you.
And support group, Dr. Westfield.
The Miss Bean and the Beanettes on Austin Beanettes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I have taken note to what my boss lady has told me to do, so we will execute this report as expeditiously as possible. I do have my staff here this evening. We are fully staffed as of a few weeks ago, so I invited them to come before you, also just to be here at our council report and to be at a council meeting. So I will introduce them shortly. I'm going to click, I'm told to click backwards, but, okay.
There it is.
Thank you for the help. You can advance to the next slide. And I think I said Tia Austin Bing, 6695 Church Street, Human Resources. The first slide that you have, and also on the big screen as well, for anyone that wants to come around, but in the essence of time, this is a reminder to you all what our city's core values are: integrity, professionalism, respect, fairness, leadership, innovation, and transparency. We pride ourselves on these. These are posted on our website as well. And as new hires are being introduced into what our core values and what we stand for the City of Douglasville. The next slide is our typical human resources functions, although there are others. But just as a reminder of what your HR department carries out: talent management, employee relations, benefits administration, compensation and classification, training and development, health and wellness, safety and risk management, policy and procedure, and legal compliance. And these are our core functions. Our organizational chart, you will see Human Resources Director as the Department Director, Human Resources Manager, which is Dr. Bryan Westfield. You're familiar with him. We have a new Senior Human Resources Generalist, Ms. Jamel Juggins, if you will stand. We have a newly promoted Human Resources Generalist, Ms. Kiara Fannin. And we have poached Ms. Keena Wright from the legal department as our human resources coordinator. So Mayor and Council, we are fully staffed and we are excited to be able to carry out what we need to for our employees. So this is your HR department. You all can ask me.
We love to hear fully staffed.
Yes, sir. I know. Trust me, I do too. The next slide are our current priorities that we're working on. As Major Davidson said just a moment ago, with his 13 in the police department, you add about a few more to that, more than a few. We're currently 50 vacancies in the city that we're working on, but we are diligently trying to fill these positions. Ms. Fannin, I think 1 week, did about 10 or 12 offer letters in 1 week, so we're still trying to, in addition to our seasonal recruitment and our summer interns, we've been working tirelessly trying to help our department heads and our managers fill those positions so that we can be at some point fully staffed in the city. But we're working towards that, and we hope and pray that we can be there someday. But we are addressing those on a daily basis. We have fulfilled our next bullet, our summer interns, but our camp staff, Kira, are we out? We're fully staffed? Okay, we're fully staffed. So those are as of late. We're excited to report on that. Retention and recruitment metrics, which we will, Dr. Westfield will report on in just a little bit, is a current priority, and a goal the city manager has set forth for the HR department. Post-performance evaluation review. If you remember, we came before you in our last fiscal year to talk about what our goals were to be fully electronic with our performance evaluations. We are there, and this is our first year. But there is some post-review that we have to do as with any technology and software implementation. FY22 goals, objective, and performance measures, and we'll talk more on those in our meeting Friday with you all in our budget meetings. But it is a current priority, continuing to work on those. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is something that is trending now with where we're moving post-pandemic and what our organizations look like. It is a human resources function. I am on an advisory board as well with GMA to bring those recommendations back to the city manager, to you all, on what we should be doing differently as it relates to recruiting talent into the workforce and considering all sources. So these strategies and a formal program will come before you probably in the next fiscal year, but it is on our radar right now. And we're hoping our intern can help us get this kicked off, so she doesn't know that yet. And then phase 3 of the Wellness Center. Retirees and dependents. That's where we plan to be on July 1. You will see that information go out to our retiree population, but that is what we're currently working on with Premise Health, formerly Care Here, to make sure that we can bring that service to our Wellness Center. Next slide is employee type. I was looking at these stats, comparing them to 5 years ago. We used to be 70% male and 30% female, but we've moved the needle over the past few years. So again, in trying to be as diverse and inclusive as we possibly can, 62% male right now, 38% female. Next slide is our veteran status slide. So basically, about 43 veterans working for the City of Douglasville. And so that is also a part of our DE&I program strategies. Dr. Westfield's a veteran himself, as you are in this room, and we and others in this room, and we're looking forward to partnering with increased veteran organizations to get our positions filled with the most loyal employees. It's one trend I read, that veterans are the most loyal and dependable employees. So, hey, we want to be there. We want them on our team as well. The race stats, so basically, largest category is white, followed by black, and then you will see some others listed there as well. But we do track this data in the form of an employee data sheet. Our new hires are volunteering this information, and we appreciate the volunteering so that we can track the stats as it relates to race. And this needle has moved as well over the last 5 years. The next slide is age. Largest category, millennials, followed by Gen X. So you will see about 24% of our workforce is millennials, and we have to prepare for that as well, and how we move, in the years to come as our workforce grows. We have to consider that and what that looks like. So this is new for us. This used to be, Gen X used to be our largest, so now it's flipped. So next slide is education. Largest category, high school diploma, followed by a bachelor's degree, but we are tracking all levels. Next slide is seniority, length of service. Largest category here that you will see in the pie, employees that have been here less than 5 years. So we'll talk a little bit more shortly about why that is, but this is currently what the City of Douglasville looks like, followed by 5 to 9 years is our second largest category. Next slide. Offer to hire, this is something we track. As it relates to how long it takes us to employ once we make the offer. We want to be less than 30 days, things considered 2-week notices, our pay period and how it starts, but we're doing fine in this area. We can do better, but 16 days to offer, and then once they come on board with us. And the next slide, I'm going to ask Dr. Westfield to come. He's our department statistician, so you want to talk about our recruitment metrics?
Dr. Bryan Westfield, 6695 Church Street. This particular slide shows the breakout as we look at technical and non-technical specialties here within the city. So as we look at police officers or IT, we also take a further look at, let's say, for instance, IT, whether it's part-time or full-time. All that comes into play as we look at recruitment and those positions and people available to fill those positions. Will somebody want to do a part-time IT? So in order to kind of get to the details of the field time, we kind of took it in segments. So as you can see on the slide, average time to fill, full-time non-technical 90 days, part-time non-technical is 101 days. Looking at the full-time technical, average is 80 days. Average time to fill for the part-time technical is 68 days. We have immediate needs as we look at shortages here at the city. We're looking at the Planning Zone Administrator, of course, with Mr. Ryan Anderson leaving. Commercial operators, we're short 12. Refuse collectors, we're down 2. And police officers, as Major Davison let us know, we're down 13. Any questions concerning this slide? Okay.
All right, next slide. So we did a look back from February to February 2021 to 2022. Just kind of wanted to see what our separation and turnover statistics looks like. About 87 employee separations between that specific time frame. So out of those 87 employees that turned over, 12 of those were involuntary separations, 64 of those were voluntary, and 11 of those were retirees. Next slide. So using the same time frame, February 2021 to 2022, this particular slide shows our involuntary separations. So just breaking it out even a little bit more, we had 12 in that time frame, 10 public services and then 2 parks and recreation. Next slide breaks it down even further in a larger pie. You can see what departments had what percentage. Most of our part-time parks employees, meaning that it is a larger of the pie, have either transitioned back to school, found full-time employment, but this kind of, and that just shows you the larger piece of the pie with police behind that. So this just shows it broken down by department for voluntary separations. And then on the next slide, I wanted to just show kind of the reasons for that. And so you will see the larger piece of the pie being 47% reasons for voluntary separations, better job opportunities. So that's that 47%. A recent ICMA study, International City County Management Association, I pulled this information down that found 52% of state and local government employees were considering leaving their jobs. 36% of those would be to change jobs, including 25% of those changing jobs would be to leave the public sector entirely. So the next slide, going a little further, you will see that the Bureau of Labor Statistics report, this is a national turnover rate, 57.3%, but however, the City of Douglasville's turnover rate is currently 30%. And it should be noted in 2021, almost 48 million workers quit their jobs in 2021, the highest on record. And that was due to increased opportunities in the labor market, and that's where we are. We're in a competitive market right now. The reason why turnover percentage is 47 and leaving for better jobs. So just wanted to note that. But on the flip side of that, we are currently looking at retention strategies to keep our employees. If you recall, you all approved a COVID-19 vaccination incentive last year and extended that program for 2022. We also facilitated an enhanced sick leave buyback program, public services retention bonuses, cost of living adjustment just last October. We adopted a new pay scale in January of this year, which in turn resulted in some pay adjustments for some of our employees, which was the result of the Evergreen Solutions pay study. And then we also included seniority bonuses as well. Going further, we will be reviewing what our offerings are, what our benefit program looks like, and consulting with the city manager on what that looks like for the City of Douglasville and what an enhancement of those perks and benefits look like. And we just want to continuously review those just to be prepared for however long we're dealing with these recruitment and retention challenges. The next slide talks about our defined contribution program with Nationwide. So this is just a 3-year comparison of how many full-time employees are participating in that program with Nationwide. If you'll see, 2019 was 131, 2020 we had 138 employees, and then end of last year, we only lost about 2 participants in the plan, which is good considering a pandemic. The next slide, however, shows increase in assets for our employees and their accounts. So we're fortunate enough to have $5.8 million in assets right now across all employee accounts in the nationwide plan. So it's growing. Hopefully with education and just good, decision making, that we will be able to educate our employees on the benefit of that and having that as a benefit here at the city. The next slide talks about our employee assistance program. This is a free program. The city sponsors this program for employees. That is just common. But we have about 246 full-time employees right now, and currently about 27, I think I looked yesterday, we're right about 30 ongoing cases. As the young lady spoke earlier about mental health and trending, we do have these resources for our employees. Currently 80 hours of utilization right now, and Engage EAP is our current EAP provider. So the next slide just shows where those cases originate from and what the referral source is. So as you can see, 80% of employees, they know about it. They're using it. They are making their own appointments with the counselors, and then followed by family member referrals, HR, and then supervisors and managers. So self-referrals are leading the pie. The next slide is just our claims, our medical claims, an overview of the last 4 years. The most recent data is December 2021. It's in the pink, but as you can see, compared to the previous year, we are down and doing better, about 1.5 million in claims right now. And our, just as a reminder, provider is Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. The next slide shows our loss ratio over the last 3 years. And again, all the data for 2022 hasn't come in yet, but I did refresh this morning and saw that we are now at 91%. I know the most recent that you see is October at 96, but January did come in and we're at 91%. The industry standard is 75, but that's just really hard to achieve. It really is, especially now. But we're getting there. We're better than where we were 2 years ago as it relates to our medical claims. So hopefully we'll have some good renewal information this year. Fingers crossed. This next slide is our departmental highlights for this fiscal year. So phase 2 of the Wellness Center, year 2 was dependent access. And just a reminder, year 1 was employee-only access. We also received the first place award for the healthiest employer with the Atlanta Business Chronicle. We implemented a benefits broker RFP, and we'll continue to do that on an ongoing basis. Classification and compensation study was implemented. Performance management, again, fully automated process. We received the Georgia Municipal Association Safety Grant in the amount of $20,000, and we partnered with the Department of Public Health to bring a vaccine event, recurring vaccine events to our wellness center. And the last slide is our mantra. And I hope that we did it in a record time, but any questions I'll take. Yes, sir.
Ms. Austin Bing,
Yes.
I know it may be too soon to know whether or not our retention strategies are working, but do you see any evidence that they're working so far, or?
I think for us, since we just did the bulk of our strategy, we started the bulk of our strategies last year, at the end of last year. We can look back, over the this year we'll be able to look back over the last year and compare that to our separation stats to be able to see. But I do think that what we've done, in my opinion, has really raised some eyebrows on what employees think, how they want to move forward, and what they will be entitled to moving forward. We've done a lot in a short amount of time. City manager has made some recommendations that are keeping us in the competition. And employees ask about them all the time. They're excited about it. So it's our hope that we'll be able to actually look back and compare what that looks like based on our turnover trends to see if we can tie it. And I know as far as public services, I would say definitely their retention strategy has been great. I mean, just having them in place is good, and not trying to go, to other private sector, organizations and leave us. It's a lot of buzz about it.
And I think, Councilman Watts, I think what I'll state is, and I mentioned this to the mayor and to Councilman Adams earlier, I think that we all have to be in the mindset that pretty much a long-term tenured local government employee is now going to be 5 years. I think if you get that employee to stay 0 to 3, you're doing really good. I think what we have gained is that we are probably far more competitive with other municipalities and county governments. We will never be able to compete with the private sector market that's going on today. If one of our employees wants to leave to go to the private sector, we just say thank you for your service. We appreciate the time that you've been here. You always have the place to come back once if you would like to, but we just cannot compete with what the private sector is offering today.
I taught at the same school for 37 years, and so I just can't relate to this hopping around that seems to be going on. But with that being said, appreciate y'all's leadership, Dr. Westfield, Tia, giving us recommendations that we can afford to do. And so, just speaking for myself on this council, we're trying. We're trying to want to keep folks.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You're going to ask us if we have any comments or anything? Any comments? You're going to ask us if we have any comments?
Oh, yeah. Do y'all, are you asking me to ask them? Or
Yes, sir.
Does anybody have any comment?
Only comment I had was, very good presentation. Director Austin Bean, looking at the organizational chart, and is a human resource manager, is that equivalent to the deputy director of human resources, or is that new terminology or industry, whatever?
There is a title in our field, Assistant Human Resources Director, but the Human Resources Manager is not. They're two different positions. And in local government, you will see what's trending more is Human Resources Manager, but there are some entities that here and there that have that title.
Okay, because that position looked like it was the deputy's position. I just didn't know if that was.
In our department, Dr. Westfield is the next leadership level, and he supervises the 3 other positions that you see that are under his purview. Yes. Dr. Westfield is my only direct report.
Okay. All right, that's all I have.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Are there any other comments or questions? Mayor Pro Tem, did you have something?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Alston Bing, when you find that magic formula for finding and retaining high-quality talent, would you please share it with me?
I
In
will.
my business, it's very difficult, just as hard too, because it's,
in the
I share
past,
the sentiments of the chair. Our generation was used to, working in one company, and you get for 30 years, you get the gold watch, and you retire. But it's I'll lend you mine. No, but I understand. I mean, there's a sort of level, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but there's a certain cynicism out there in the newer generation that if a company's not going to commit to me long-term, why should I commit to them long-term? And so that's part of what we have to try to overcome in terms of our strategy, because, when I got out of grad school, and I had a really hard time finding a job long-term, because I graduated right into a terrible recession in the early 90s. And, companies would hire you for, 6 months to work on one project, and then they let you go because that's all they needed you. So how do you develop any loyalty when you're going from, I always call it like being like an itinerant farm worker. You go pick the cabbages here, and then that runs out, you go pick the beans. And that's the way it was in the professional world in the 90s. And so it's not that much different, I understand, today.
No, and I think the challenge that we have in local government is that government is not the best place to be. And not because it's not, it's because it's what mainstream media and everybody else says about government. You don't go to school to work in local government. There is no degree for this. So we, as a collective, as local government entities, do not do a very good job as advertising ourselves as a great place to be. I mean, public safety is a good example of that. it's not necessarily the best career, the greatest career choice someone jumps up to do. So that wasn't always the case. I know Major Davidson, when he first became a recruit, he was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. But I'm pretty certain that that challenge of making that an attractive career choice when there is a plethora of things that somebody with a law enforcement degree can go and do, local government is just not necessarily the option, especially when every week on TV there's an incident with a law enforcement officer that is not favorable to a law enforcement officer. So it is a challenge in that respect in growing that field, and it's a challenge in that respect in every single entity. And when you have someone like an HR director that has a private sector counterpart that probably makes 50% more than what she does, local government for a young individual with a degree does not become your first option and your first choice. So I just believe it's on us in a creative way to try to advocate not just at college, but even at the middle school level, which they don't teach civics anymore in school, as to why local government is important, because of course we get the bad mark along with state and federal government because everybody just looks at us as government. So we're getting it hit in a multitude of areas. But the one thing I will say in that long speech I'm saying is I think that you all can be proud of your staff, because even 50 employees down, yes, there may be some bumps and hurdles in delivering service, but overwhelmingly, the constituents are still receiving service from us. So for that reason, I am extremely proud of the service that we provide, particularly in the police department and in public services where you're boots on the ground and you're actually having to serve the citizens day to day. To me, that's something to champion, that despite that, we're still providing the service and at a high level.
I think I can confidently say on behalf of City Council that we as a group are very proud of the folks that work for this city. And I think the only insight I think that I can possibly express is that what motivates those of us on council to run is the attraction of local government, being that you're the closest to the people here. You provide the services and the interaction that is closest to the citizens that live within your ward, your district, whatever. And maybe that's some way of promoting employment in local government, is that you also are the closest to the people. You provide the necessary daily services. The garbage gets picked up. The police enforce the laws. You provide, parks and recreation, parks for, at the city level. These are just wonderful services that you just don't get at any other level, and that's all I can say is my insight.
I'm getting ready to
As the mayor's
gavel you.
about to bring the hook out onto the stage here.
Dun, 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 the Sandman. Okay.
That's all.
Is any other comments?
We pulled the hook down here.
Okay.
Is there any other comments?
Okay.
Any other comments?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay,
Madam
all
Mayor.
right. Before we go to citizens, and thank you, Ms. Tia.
Thank you,
Yes,
Ms.
ma'am.
Bing, Dr. Westfield, staff, appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you.
Yeah, we know it's a graduation celebration going on in the conference center. Before
I thought
we
they
go,
were cheering for Tia.
I know it. For comments from citizens and delegates, I did want to interject to the police department, Major Davidson, that maybe we could look at noise ordinance signs. We've had a lot of loud vehicles, seems like, during the meeting tonight. And it happens really, we just notice it on Thursdays and Mondays when we're here, but I know it's all the time. So maybe that's an ongoing concern. And as the amphitheater comes, it may be another issue. But anyway, we'll move on to citizens, comments from citizens and delegates. If you sustain a meeting you'd like to address us, please come forward. You have 5 minutes to speak to us about any business germane to the City of Douglasville.
My name is Cindy Welch. I reside at 3002 Concord Way. And if it wasn't that this could be a problem, I wouldn't bring it up tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
But 2 years ago, I came to the city to complain about something on Durley Lane, where I saw a little child almost get hit. Durley Lane is even worse now because there used to be signs at Veterans Memorial and Durley, Fairburn Road and Durley, no trucks. Well, those signs are gone, and I mean, those 18-wheelers go down that road. There's no sidewalks there. The cars are still parked almost on the street. There's a new business that has a big I don't know what kind, box truck, I guess you call it, and it almost has its front end in the street. So all these people walking from those apartments, and you won't believe, I mean, I use that road a lot to go over to Powder Springs and to Austell, so that's how I know. And there are people walking, and they are walking in the street. Those 18-wheelers coming around Fairburn Road, I mean, I don't know why somebody hasn't been already hit. But I would think if you're not going to get that sidewalks there, then they need to put those signs back up and make those trucks go all the way down to Veterans Memorial instead of thinking that they can just cut right through, and they speed through there. So I'm through.
Thank you, Ms. Welch. I'm not sure, did Fairburn Road, is that the GDOT? With the-
It's probably been removed due to construction. I'll make certain that Mr. Roberts goes out to take a look at it. Ms. Dickinson is here, and we'll go ahead and take a look at it.
Thank you. Thank you, City Manager. Thank you, Ms. Welch. Any other comments from citizens and delegates? If not, we don't have any other business to come before council tonight, and this meeting is adjourned.